Hello, everyone. Welcome to our discussion over the Swatch case study. My name is Daniel.
My name is Alyssa.
My name is CJ.
And my name is Eddie.
So, what were you guys' thoughts in reading the case on why the Swatch was able to be made out to be the big success that it was?
Let's see. For me, I thought that
Wait.
Swatch was so successful because they found a way to make the watch influential and more valuable with tying it to something that was special to people. So I think that's kind of the way that they made, Swiss watches to be still keep the same specialness that they kind of wanted, but just in a very different way and a different way of thinking, to again keep that image that they wanted to keep, and they just were not wanting to conform to what consumers were wanting. So they made something completely different, which made it totally successful.
I would just say, I noticed in reading that it was much more cost effective to have them made in Switzerland. So I think that helped them cut down on spending costs to create the watches. And then also the marketing strategy for thinking about what the consumers want rather than what's gonna make the business the most money as the most important goal. I think that really helped them lay the groundwork for the industry in the future.
Okay.
I think for me, one of the why it was so effective and so successful was because everyone remembers their first. And I think this company was the first to Alyssa kind of said, it was the first to kind of be customizable and kind of just be a little bit different. And so, you have all these cookie cutter type watches that are, $500, 500 plus, and they all kind of look the same, or they have the same build or the same, just consensus, boom, this is how it is. And then they kind of wandered off from that, and they really truly kind of experimented and thought outside the box. So I think from the marketing standpoint of being the first to do that, I think that's why it was so successful, because everyone remembers their first. So
yeah, I totally agree with him. I feel like it's because of your history, your past, what they had done before, that made them being successful today. With when you already have a reputation, that makes it easy for you to have to be successful after.
Perfect. Well, I guess we can move on now. I think we kind of gave our piece on why we thought Swatch was so successful. Does anybody want to just talk about the elements of Swatch marketing that they kind of thought were a little bit more critical to the brand itself?
One of the things I thought was just the amount of money they spent advertising, which I thought that was something that not a lot of other companies explored, because basically to spend money, you have to make money. And I don't think a lot of companies thought that they had enough resources allocated to spending that much time and money on advertising in the past.
Definitely. And I think they knew they had some making up to do as far as repositioning themselves within the watch market, because it was dominated by in all parts of the world by non-Swiss brands at that time. So they kind of had to make it an impact. So they knew they might have to invest a little bit more to get themselves back on the map. And I kind of thought what was interesting too is they took a different approach. I think, what was it? They did a life's, or an oversized watch or something like that to make a statement, and to really solidify and position themselves hey, we're here, we're doing this thing, and we're showing you guys we're investing in the experience. And also the price point, it shifted, especially for a Swiss made watch.
I think another thing too was they weren't as expensive as most of the other Swiss watches, and so I think they kind of missed an opportunity with that because I mean they weren't at that market price, so people not only wanted the customization but they wanted the cheapness. I would say it's more affordable for some people, and so I think they kind of missed an opportunity for like certain watches that they make. So I mean, just kind of an example is if they made like something that was true and dear to someone's culture, they could almost charge more for that because I think since the cost of making that watch wasn't as expensive as let's say the other watches, then they could almost upcharge, but they didn't do that. I don't think they truly got the full I'm trying to think of they had a very very low price gap, I think, and they could have made that price gap bigger from that cost of actually making the watch to the market price. So
Yeah, I agree with you, CJ. I think that I think
Yeah.
people in the watch industry will pay for what they want, no matter how much it costs in some cases. And I definitely think they could have increased the price per model of some of their watches, which could have increased their profits even more. So what did you guys think Bosisio meant when he said that the Swatch was sold at a clean price?
For me, I feel like I don't know if that's like different interpretation for other people. But I think like by clean price is what he made. It's like reasonable. Um, and again, that's something they prided themselves on is like we are not going to raise the price. And have you seen any other brand, stay consistent with its price in like a 10-year span? Because that's something we did. So it's like a clean price, it's fair. For what they're paying artists to like it's even like a great deal because they're paying artists to like create these beautiful designs and like they're supporting things that are different than what um maybe some other watch companies have done in the past. So like it's a clean price, it's fair, and it's almost like the watch company like Swatch is investing even more than maybe what they expect their consumers to be doing.
When I heard that term, I kind of interpreted it as it's like a flat price that's not gonna go up or down, and it's gonna just stay level throughout this as long as it's in stock.
Mm-hmm.
so I guess kind of we talked about it, we hinted at it a little bit, but prior to Swatch, what was the popular to other consumers? Kind of like Rolex and Timex. What made them so successful?
I think Timex was the just how cheap it was, and then because I mean, a lot of jewelers didn't even want it just because it was so cheap, and then with Rolex, it was like that was the brand to have, and it was the ones that people thought made them stick out, and it was most desirable.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like with Timex, it came at a time where the Switch brand were like at very high prices. So they like if you want to if you were to compare like whether having a watch with like higher prices or lower prices, people were like turning to get something very cheap. They were like say if I remember they said they were selling it below like $40 or something, and yeah, it was like oh no, $7 or something, and it was like very cheap to get a watch by them.
Yeah, and I think for Timex, it was durability too. I remember reading, they would put it through like crazy testing, like putting it in a vacuum and like all this stuff, just to, again, with watch repairs, with some of the more expensive ones, they were really having to go back and get things, repaired and like updated and, by like a time or a watch
Yeah.
person. I forgot what they're called, but they would have to go and invest even more, even though they already spent like a huge investment. And with these Timex ones, like, okay, they're durable. So if you worked like a job that was like, hands-on and you're going to be smacking your watch into stuff, and like you didn't have to really invest past the watch price to get it fixed or anything.
I think something that made, like, for example, like the Rolex so popular was just the pure brand recognition and kind of being part of that brand. Like if you have a Rolex, you are considered top of the line, you are wealthy, you have everything type deal. So I think that was part of another reason why. And then something else, I mean, all these other watch brands at the time had a backing, they were all established. And then Swatch kind of had to make its own type of identity. And so that was something that getting in the watch market was kind of difficult. So
yeah, okay, I have to show you guys this. Dr. Miller's gonna love this. So this is like a random side note. I was actually in Florida earlier this year, and I was in the ocean, and I found a Rolex in the ocean, and I have it with me. I don't think it's real because I did my research, but I have to show you guys because you guys are gonna totally just laugh when you see this. And Dr. Miller's gonna absolutely love this. Okay, you guys see it?
Yep.
It's totally not real. I don't think it is because I like watched a ton of YouTube videos and everything, but I was like, isn't that cool? I wish it was real.
So in other industries, can you think of other companies or products that have had a similar impact that the Swatch had in the watch industry?
I think something that's like kind of customizable and it's kind of unique, and this might be a little bit of a stretch, but Frontier Airlines, where they have the pictures of the animals on their planes, and they're totally like for that, and they're for a specific like breed of animal and kind of like that, and that's kind of like their big marketing thing is, oh, we're green and we save animals, blah blah blah, and they have like pictures of actual animals in zoos, and I think that's something very like could be relatable for some people. And so I think that could be kind of correlated to how the Swatch did too. Swatch made these kind of crazy customizable watches that were like almost relatable in a way. So I think same could be said for I think it's Frontier Airlines. So
when I got this question, I kind of thought of when I was growing up, Spalding made this basketball and soccer ball called the Infusion. It was like you pumped it yourself instead of using a needle, and it didn't take off with the success that the Swatch did, but I just kind of thought it was a unique parallel of them thinking outside the box and just trying something new, see if it would stick.
Yeah, and I know I kind of mentioned earlier too, just even with like, beauty influencers and beauty gurus, and they do like collections with, different things. And a lot of them would do like, makeup collections with small businesses to, raise awareness and help get their brand started. And I feel like, that's kind of a concept they were doing with, certain collaborations and different artists that they'd work with to kind of just make something different and launch them a little bit so they can get on their feet. I thought that was kind of just like a cool and different concept, especially for the time that they implemented that.
Okay. We can move to the next question.
I think the last question's talking about the Apple Watch. So then it's like, in what ways has the Apple Watch influenced the watch category, like smartwatches, etc.? Is it a fad or not?
I think it has significantly progressed the watch and the smartwatch industry, and it makes it like an item people want to have. But I don't think it's a fad, and I think it's maybe comparable to maybe last generations like Bluetooth headsets, that they're never gonna be the top item on the market, but I think they're always gonna be there for a purchase for anyone that wants them.
I personally think it's a fad because like they are having so many features on the watch, like so many options, but how many of us use it, is all those options? I just feel like people are just buying it just because, you know, just because it's Apple and all those stuff, but I don't feel like people are actually buying it for the all the options that they are advertising. Because imagine you're having a high technology phone like a smartphone and you're having a watch. I mean, basically what you're going to do with your watch is just look at the time, and if you gotta do something else, you're gonna use your phone. It's true like the watch could do pretty much everything, but most of the time we are still on our phones. So I feel like we don't really like need those Apple Watch for some stuff. So I feel like it's a fad for me.
I think like Apple Watch kind of like blew up, like, and it became like super big. I think as it does die down, and CJ, I know you mentioned before we even started recording, um, you know, something's going to trump it at some point, and we don't know when that is or what that would be. But at some point, you know, just as a VHS kind of became like old news, and CD, or you know, DVD, CDs became like the big thing. Perfect. So kind of what I was saying before that cut us off. But it'll probably just like go through that cycle, and then it'll remain, you know, popular among the people that have implemented it in their lifestyle, or you know, have found it to enhance their life in some way. Like me, I use it every single day. Like I have to have my Apple Watch on, or else I feel weird. It's like a piece of jewelry for me now. It's like my staple. It literally is a piece of jewelry because I have it like sparkles on there and everything. But I mean, I use this to track my, you know, my steps and my breathing and my exercise and tracking my food and everything. So I don't see myself ever not wearing this again. So I'm definitely that percentage that would keep on with the Apple Watches. But I know a percentage of people are going to fall off with it.
And I would just say too, I think it's helped a lot of people like with their fitness. Like it's make them more cognizant of, I need to stand for this amount of minutes every hour. I need to burn off so many calories. And I think it's helped society with their just tracking their fitness and getting in better shape.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's mostly helpful for those that are doing fitness, but like I feel like phones could do that. I mean, this was an advantage that phones were having before, but like with a watch, it's only you only like people don't see you, like when you can check your watch easily. You don't have to take out your phone. But yeah, all the features a watch is doing, like a phone could do that. Is just, you know, I feel like we don't use all the options that the watch is having. Like they're going when I saw the advertisement of the last Apple Watch that came, and I was like, oh, it's pretty good, honestly. But how many people are going to use it? You know, like they're having pretty much the same features on the phone and on the watch. Imagine I'm having the two. Obviously, there's going to be a future I wouldn't be using the two at the same time. So I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eddie. Like even, you know, like Fitbit. I feel like Fitbit was the big thing before, you know, Apple Watches became popular. And I mean, Apple just had a bigger brand. It had a bigger name, and it had just a way bigger audience that people knew it. They were comfortable with it, and they knew how to navigate the software. And so it kind of, I feel like there's still Fitbitters out there. I don't know if that's what they're called, but I sure gave them a name right now. But that, maybe they're still using Fitbit and the newer models and stuff. And then, the people that are like Apple everything are using that. And then I think Samsung has a watch too. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I think
they
it
do have
really just depends on what brand you're really there for.
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody have
Perfect.
any final remarks they'd like to add?
No, I think that was it for me. What about you guys?
I think I am
Yeah.
good.
I'm good too.